being me is painful, there is tension. And no, I don't like to work in the kitchen. This kind of background tension is always there, right? And we end up just thinking that this is how we are. Hello and welcome to Hope for Dystonia. My name is Shmuel and I am the creator of the Hope for Dystonia Self-Healers Academy. I created the academy because I got my life back, and so can you. Today, I want to talk to you about something that not a lot of people talk about, which is the inner experience of dystonia. And it is my hope that you'll see yourself in this, that you'll recognize your experience. And I hope that it will help you feel seen, understood, that there's someone who gets it, and most importantly, that there is a way out. So, speaking of way out, the single most important thing that you can do today as you watch this is click on the link in the description below. It will lead you to the Hope for Dystonia Recovery Kit, which is invaluable information that will help you make sense of this and will help you take charge of your recovery and turn things around. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and click on that. So today, I want to talk to you again about the inner experience of dystonia, what it's like to have this. And I want to focus on one particular topic, which is vigilance and monitoring. Because a lot of us spend a ton of time with this constant inner monitoring, and we don't even realize that we're doing this. And I want to give you a couple of different scenes, right? A couple of different scenarios, if you will, where this really shows up. So imagine that you have dystonia in your face, in your neck, and or generalized in your entire body. And imagine that you have to put away some dishes in a cabinet where, yeah, you can reach, but it's a bit awkward, right? And so you have to squat and you have to reach into the cabinet and you have to maybe move around some other dishes that are in the way. And in order to do this, there's actually a lot that needs to happen, right? You need to, first of all, squat, which is its own challenge for a lot of people with dystonia. And then you have to coordinate your two hands, and you have to coordinate the muscle tone in your neck, in your shoulders, in your face, as you use your eyes to find exactly what it is that you're going to do and where it is that you're going to put your dishes. And you have to manage the muscle tone in your body, in your diaphragm, in your pelvic floor, especially as you're squatting. And maybe you're not aware of all of this, right? But all of it is happening. And maybe you don't realize, but the simple action of putting the dishes away feels annoying. It feels difficult. It feels challenging in a way that causes your body to tense up. And so as you approach the kitchen, there is a sort of tension, a sort of dread, a sort of maybe pain that comes on. And for a lot of us, that is not even explicit, right? That is not even something that we think about in these terms. We just think, oh, being me is painful, there is tension. And no, I don't like to work in the kitchen. And this kind of background tension is always there, right? And we end up just thinking that this is how we are. I want to give you another example, which is a social one. So let's imagine that you have dystonia in your face. Maybe you have blepharospasm, right? There is tension in your eyelids and they tend to close shut in certain situations. And so you meet a new person. You know that you're going to meet them, rather. And you know that they're coming over in, let's say, half an hour. And internally, something begins to work already, right? And you begin thinking, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to, manage my symptoms in such a way that they don't think I'm weird? How can I make a good impression on this person? How am I going to explain what is happening in my face? How can I explain that my eyes close shut? How can I not get nervous and actually maybe keep my eyes open a little bit? How can I look normal? What will this person think of me? And how can I not make this conversation awkward? And maybe this person is coming over because, we actually need to work on something. How can we actually work on that something if this person's attention is going to be on my eyes and on my face the whole time? So all of this is very typical, right? And it's another example of the same kind of guarding that I spoke about in my first example, right? It's guarding of two kinds, really. There's the guarding that says, I need to look okay. And then the guarding that says, my body doesn't know how to organize itself properly. And so I just dread doing certain things. And maybe I just dread getting up in the morning and doing anything at all, right? Because I know that the minute I open my eyes, all of this is going to start happening. Or maybe I dread coming to my instrument, right? Because the minute I look at my instrument, something in my hands starts spasming. And this has a cost, right? This is exhausting because everything becomes a war. Everything becomes the kind of situation where we have to tense up, where we have to have this extra monitoring on ourselves rather than just being, right? And if this is you, and I know that this is you, if you have dystonia in ways that maybe you recognize and perhaps ways that you don't yet recognize, I want to tell you that I get it, right? That I understand. You are not alone, and this is not you forever, right? This is just a way that you have learned to function. This is learning that has compounded and different layers of adaptations. And all of these layers can be undone. And they can be undone not through force, but through moments like these, right? Moments of recognition, moments of being seen and attuned to and understood, moments that can help your nervous system have a different experience, one where it can relax. And little by little, as these experiences accumulate, this can become the default of how your nervous system organizes itself. And this can be done. And we do it all the time in the Academy. And so if you haven't checked out the Academy yet, I warmly recommend that you do. Again, the first step is clicking on the link in the description below to be led to the Hope for Dystonia Recovery Kit. That's your gateway to making sense of things. And if you're interested, you'll be able to book a consultation to see if this work is right for you. And you'll see a powerful way, the leading way in the world, really, today, to rewire your nervous system around safety, around attunement, away from chronic guarding, away from chronic monitoring, away from the chronic tension that says the world is an enemy and reality is a battle and I'm a warrior. It is not this way. I know it may feel this way, but again, this is just something that you have learned to do and you can unlearn this. And I'm not saying this lightly, but you can do this, right? Whatever situation you think you're in that might be hopeless, or you think you've had this for too long and you're too far gone or you're too old, your brain retains plasticity. It retains the ability to learn and change. And so I once again very warmly invite you to join us and begin by checking out that link in the description below and the videos on the Hope for Dystonia channel. There is plenty of information here that can help you make sense of things and hopefully feel seen. You are not alone and you can do this.